Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the January 19th, 2022 virtual meeting of Chatham's Historic Business District Commission. My name is Daniel Silver, and I'm the current chairman. Hopefully, this meeting will unfold as usual, in that as soon as Sarah Clark, the Central Permitting Coordinator, reads the governor's directives concerning these virtual meetings, we'll do a roll call of the members who are present, and we'll be reviewing the application this afternoon. As soon as that's done, we'll move right on to the application. So, Sarah, would you like to start us off?
Yes. Please note this meeting is being recorded and will be available shortly hereafter for scheduled and on-demand viewing on any smartphone or tablet device. If anyone else is recording the meeting, please notify the chairman. This meeting of the Historic Business District Commission is being conducted remotely in accordance with Section 20 of Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021 and shall afford adequate alternative means of public access via Microsoft Teams by calling the phone number 1-508-945-4410, conference ID 882-540-766#, or join the meeting online via Microsoft Teams through the link in the posted agenda. Despite our best efforts, we may not be able to provide for real-time access, and we'll post a record of this meeting on the town's website as soon as possible. In accordance with the town policy, the public can speak to any issue, hearing, or business item on the agenda during the meeting when recognized by the chair.
Thank you, Sarah. We'll do the roll call now. We have Darcy Sequin.
Darcy Sequin is here.
Our vice chair, our clerk, Sam Schreiber. Sam, are you here? You want to turn on your mic?
Sorry, Sam Schreiber is here.
Okay. Regular member Bob Burns.
Bob Burns is here.
Regular member Doug Grattan.
Doug Grattan is here.
Our first alternate, Steve DuBois.
Steve DuBois is here.
And our second alternate, Janet Whittemore.
Janet Whittemore is here.
Okay, and as I said, my name is Daniel Silver, and I am here. All right, we only have one application this afternoon. It's a continuing saga. Do we have the representative or the applicant themselves here?
Do you want to address the minutes, Dan?
Very good. Sam, did you want to say something?
Since I didn't go get my packet, so I don't have the minutes. But that's all right. I just didn't go to the annex and pick up my packet, so I don't have my.
Well, I think there's a reason for that, Sam. I'm not sure that they were there. I think Sarah sent them to you.
Yes, so Sam, there was no packet because we didn't have the materials to provide you with for the application. So my suggestion would be to vote to table the minutes until our next meeting.
That sounds, we've done that before.
Yes.
All right, Doug, do you want to do that?
Doug Grattan will make a motion that we table the minutes for the meeting held January 5th to our next meeting, which will be on February 9th.
Darcy Sequin will second the motion.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded. We go right to voting. Darcy?
Darcy Sequin in favor.
Sam Schreiber?
Sam Schreiber in favor.
Bob Burns?
Bob Burns in favor.
Doug Grattan?
Doug Grattan in favor.
Steve DuBois?
Steve DuBois is in favor.
Janet Whittemore?
Jan Whittemore in favor. Thank you.
And Dan Silver's in favor as well. Okay, so that moves us right on to the application.
Mr. Chairman, just a slight
Yes.
correction. That will be tabled till February 2nd, which is our next scheduled meeting.
Oh, I wonder how we came up with that number.
I apologize.
All right, let's show that the Central Permitting Coordinator has indicated that the next meeting will be February 2nd and not the 9th, as was made in the motion. Does anybody have any objection to the change? No?
No.
Okay, very good. All right. So what has transpired since our last meeting?
Wait a minute. Let me just see the agenda. Continued hearing, new construction, 21-101, Chatham Productions LLC, care of Victoria Clark. Application to construct a new dwelling located at Lot 4, Annabelle Lane.
All righty.
Okay, so,
Yes, go right ahead.
okay, so obviously this is a continuation of the Lot 4 application for new construction. And so the presentation we submitted that I believe you all have copies of after the walkthrough yesterday that we handed out. We specifically started to focus on the mass scale, et cetera, of the immediate surroundings, unlike previous meetings where we focused on other subdivisions that are in the H.B.D.C as well as general business. So this packet specifically pointed out the footprint to lot size ratio of a lot of the buildings in the immediate surroundings. And so something we wanted to point out was that the average of all of the ones we included is about the ratio of the footprint to the lot size is about 22%. Versus for what we are proposing on lot 4, it's a little less than 14 because the lot size is 15,480 square feet and the footprint of the building is 2104. And so that is something we think is 22 versus 14 is a substantial difference. And one thing we also did want to point out is that I know it has not gone through planning to get approval for a building permit. They've only done the preliminary discussions, but 784 Main Street, which was voted on and approved by the H.B.D.C, I believe it was 4-1, has a footprint to lot size ratio of a little under 22%, or for the whole, give or take. But so that's something to point out because that has a building footprint of over 3,000 square feet. Another thing we did also want to say is in regards to lot 4, we realized, and we can send the documents to show this, but we didn't realize this until today as we were talking about after our walkthrough yesterday, is that the second floor is actually on the plans we provided last meeting for the lot 4 house. The second floor is actually smaller than like 125 square feet smaller than it showed to be. So instead of being a 3,990 square foot house, it's actually about 3,800 square feet, give or take, which is something that we did want to point out just because that is a difference in 500 square feet. And additionally, regarding, I know this was a conversation we talked about yesterday regarding the turnaround for the parking. To our understanding of the guidelines for the zoning bylaw, you're required 2 parking spaces for a residential dwelling unit. So I do not believe that the parking turnaround is a requirement. We also looked at possibly adjusting it so that instead of going right up to the fairly close to the property line, it would be instead either make it shorter so it was just not a full parking space, but rather just a few feet of turnaround space, or putting it more along the side of the garage so that it is further away from the property line, but still provides some space to turn around, as something we, based upon our conversations at the walkthrough, was something we wanted to note.
Another thing we wanted to point out too was the question was asked about Lot 4's house in relation to the property line at the ball field. So that the building is skewed to the property line. When we said it was 15 feet, so if you look at this drawing up, it sees labeled 15'4" from just off the patio. The other end is 18'4". So the part that's closer to the batting cage area, it's actually 18'4" off that property line. We may be able to skew that and turn that a little bit further. I wasn't able to reach David Clark to confirm it, but we may be able to skew that a little further forward away from the ball field to get it closer to 20 feet. But we can't confirm. But right now it does show it at 18'4". Okay.
Thank you very much. Before we start, I just want to straighten out, make sure we get some numbers right. On the original paper that I had that you folks supplied with us, it said that the footprint of this house was 17 18.3%. And you're now saying it's 18? Is that correct?
So, oh, no, I'm referring to, so we didn't submit them this time, but the original floor plans of the house on the original application stated that the house was 3,900 and I believe 84 square feet was the exact number. And we were taking a look at the floor plans today and we realized that Mark Zebrat had done a miscalculation when calculating the second floor's floor plans, and he included the dormers as a part, which is a part of the roof line, as a part of the square footage. So there was a slight error in calculation, and so the second floor is not 1,880 square feet, it is 1,730, so it's a difference of 150 square feet. So it's 150 square feet smaller.
Yes. So the living space is 150 square foot less than what Mark had shown on those plans.
Okay, very good. Sam?
Victoria, can you walk out into those dormers?
No, you cannot.
I don't see how that's going to be. What kind of floor does the dormer have? The dormer just.
The dormer has it doesn't go all the way out, Sam, so it's the roof line is, the way Mark has it drawn, if you look at the elevations, if Sarah can pull up those elevations or the floor plans.
I have them right here. You have one big shed dormer. You walk out in that shed dormer, don't you?
Yes, so that portion, the portion that you can walk to is included in the square footage. But the dormer doesn't go all the way out to the exterior wall of the floor below.
No, of course.
Mark had calculated. Yeah, Mark's calculations for when he gave those calculations were carrying it out to the floor below, Sam. That's where he made the mistake.
Okay. That makes sense. Now I'm understanding.
He just did the outside to outside on both floors. That was his error. Okay.
Okay, so let's go down the list. Let's start with Darcy. Darcy?
Yes,
You're muted.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to say thank you for the presentation and the site visit yesterday. It was very good that we were able to do that. And I don't know if you want me to comment on the whole structure or where would you like to start, Dan?
Start anywhere you want, but let the conversation go where it's going.
Okay. I'm okay. Sorry. I'm okay with the building. I just wanted to point out that the planning board is the one who's going to be reviewing the parking areas. We have jurisdiction over everything else, the driveways, the paving and the walkways. But as far as the parking, I'm not sure that's in our jurisdiction. So everybody should think about that when everything comes into play.
Yeah, we can ask Sarah. The H.B.D.C has jurisdiction over hardscape, but I'm not sure that it includes the parking area, Darcy.
So for a commercial structure, the planning board would have authority over it. Because this is proposed to be a residential structure, the H.B.D.C would have review of the hardscape materials. And the zoning board would look at the setbacks to the parking areas.
Right. That's the only comment I have right now. Let's see where the conversation goes.
Thank you, Darcy.
Welcome.
All right, Bob?
Let me unmute. Sarah, question. Do we have purview over the placement of the home? On the lot?
Partially. You couldn't make them propose something that would be non-conforming as to the setbacks of our zoning bylaw. So they're required to be 25 feet from the roadway or the approved roadway and 15 feet from any abutting property.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna make a few comments. I took on my walk this morning, I went by the field again and did a cut through. And Greg and Victoria, thanks for getting the building corner staked. I think it was probably done yesterday afternoon. So I was able
We didn't, yeah, we didn't have anyone, we didn't have anyone stake the contest. They
Well,
told us they couldn't get
well, Clark, he was there well, he wasn't there. He was
Really?
the Clark Engineering, I think, did it. So the corners are staked. The lot line was pretty close to the orange stakes that were in there. But I was able to see the building corners on lot 4.
Okay.
Okay, so they're there. So you should
Okay.
maybe be happy about that.
Yeah.
So, but thanks for having that done. I think you're making good progress overall on the site plan, including discussions on the theater, which I think are encouraging. So yesterday you talked a little bit, not too much about the theater. As
Don't
far
go
as
too far into the theater, Bob.
yeah, no, I can't. So let me move on to lot 4. I still have concerns about the size and how close the home will be to Veterans Field, especially to left field, where the majority of the home run balls are hit in that ballpark. Without seeing the home placement on lot 3, and I maybe should not be talking about lot 3, but I believe it could be workable with Veterans Field. A few suggestions on getting back to lot 4. After looking at the topography plan, and I looked at it last night a couple of times, my wife thought I was crazy. She said, "What are you looking at this thing so much for?" So my thoughts are, suggestion, would it be possible to reconfigure lots 4 and 5 so the lot 4 home could be moved up the hill away from the ball field in the vicinity, not directly on, but in the vicinity of where the proposed pool is, leaving more room for open green space behind the batting cage and scoreboard. The rear of the house, is it possible to have that caddy corner? Would the rear be facing the fire station and the front facing whatever the cul-de-sac or whatever is going to go in there? Also not sure what can be done with the cul-de-sac, reducing the size of it, also moving it more to the west, which could possibly provide more room for lot 5. So those are my comments. One suggestion, I'm not an expert on topography, but my desire is the home 4 is big, and I'd like to see more green space behind the scoreboard and the batting cage. Thank you.
I'll give the applicant an opportunity to respond if you'd like.
Sure. So just in regards to that, I believe when we were going through the preliminary plan with planning board, David Clark went through those scenarios, Bob, about seeing if we could take that panhandle lot and somehow make it bigger. But he for some reason could not do it. I'm not sure what the requirements were.
I believe it had to do with the size of the road, like the length and the cul-de-sac, because I know
All right, Dan. So yeah, I was kicked off there for about 20 seconds. If maybe if you could just go back about 30 seconds and start that over.
Certainly. Would you like to start over with the applicant? Like to start back up about 20 seconds?
Sure.
I believe that was me, and I was saying that we explored different options with the planning board about whether a cul-de-sac was the best possibility for the street layout of the subdivision. And that's what they decided they wanted to see due to the nature of lots. And from my memory, I do not believe the road could be shrunk. I think it had to do with, it needs to, I don't know too much about the engineering behind it, but I believe that the road might stay as it is due to requirements of size and setbacks and all of the different elements of the bylaw.
Yeah, we went through a couple of different versions of it because we had to do a preliminary plan, then work through a couple sessions, and then had to come back with the final plan. And I think the issue is when David took into consideration the setback requirements and meeting that 15-foot setback requirement, when you get down to the end, it was just too tight for him to be able to do something there. So he laid out a building footprint area that would meet all the zoning setback requirements that would allow Mark Zebrat to then plot a home on it and see how it works. I don't think that he can accomplish what you're asking there, Bob, but what I would say is this also. We are amenable to, obviously, where the town cleared the property at the field all the way up to the property line behind the maintenance shed and the batting cages. You know, we're amenable to putting a row of trees on the town's property that we would pay for and we would maintain, and then behind it putting a fence. And if they wanted to continue that further down, we would clear some of the scrub that is at the immediately behind the scoreboard. It's not as dense, but once you get past the scoreboard where the town hadn't cleared at all, it comes out quite a bit, as we saw from the property line.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have a problem, but we'd have to work with a landscape architect, obviously, to determine the trees that we would put behind the scoreboard. Would they get enough sun to grow, or would they be, crowded in the next few years and die? But we're amenable to doing that, planting them, irrigating them, putting a fence up between them, maintaining them until we got to a certain point that they were growing on their own. So that's something that we would propose to provide a little bit of visual enclosure between the batting cage area and anyone sitting in the stands looking out left field in these properties. Okay.
Would you supply irrigation?
We would, yes.
Dan, those are and Greg, those are my comments. I'd like to listen to his other comments.
All right, then we'll move on to Doug Grattan.
All right, I see how it sits on the site, and it meets all the setbacks, and I would be in favor of it. I think it's in the homeowners and the builder's best interest in the field to do as much screening as possible between both the scoreboard and the batting cage. So other than that, that's the only comments I have.
Okay, Steve Du Bois.
Yes, thank you. And I just wanted to, reaffirm that I appreciate, I don't remember whose idea it was, but it was a great idea, I think, to have us all out there yesterday and to be able to walk the property. It kind of opened my eyes a little bit, and I appreciate being able to spend some time out there. I've said it in the past. I thought that these structures were a little bit too big for where they are. But I also understand from a development point of view that, you have to be able to make your money in order to support restoring the theater and the surrounding property there. So although I wish that this land could be developed in a way that could be more beneficial to the town, I also understand the applicant's position and that he has to do what he has to do. So I am a little concerned. I'm not sure that I would want to live in a house with a billboard or a scoreboard in my backyard and a batting cage. But that's my personal preference. But I guess I don't have any other comments about the project other than I wish it would be something a little bit more beneficial to the town overall.
All right, thank you, Steve. Janet?
Yeah, to the Clarks, I have a question. Are you there?
Yes.
Hello. Can you help me to understand the buildings that you had chosen to represent yourselves here? Are many of them are condominiums, most of them are business. There are a total of 10 buildings. You have no private homes to indicate the size of the houses in the immediate area. But what you've done is you've very carefully documented 67 Depot Road, which is the fish store, and the post office square, which is multiple businesses in that area. And then you've chosen the post office of all kinds of things. I don't know. They, by the way, the post office rents that, and whomever the owner is doesn't take care of it. I'm going to skip E because that's not even built yet. And then 752 Main Street that houses the liquor store and the laundromat, which will, be company to these people who are going to have their house. I hope they don't complain about our neighborhood. And then G is 781 Main Street, which is the Ford dealership. And then the next one that's set as an example is, and you just give two numbers there, I guess it's 731 through 737. And that is a condominium complex that has 6 units in it. Also 759, I believe, is part of a condominium plot there. I think that this fellow may own the buildings in back that have been formally condominiumized. There is only one house that's given as an example, and the building is 1,536 square feet. And the red none was included. That's interesting. So I'm not sure what you were trying to propose by using all these commercial properties as an example. Right along from the beginning, a lot of us have felt that these buildings are far too big. We're not in favor of it. I don't know what meeting this is. I think this is meeting 4 or 5. Sarah could probably answer that. But to this date, there have not been any concessions made on your part about the fact that we just feel that these buildings are too large. So that's my feeling.
Thank you, Janet. All right,
Can I
this is
respond?
Dan. I'm sorry, would you like to respond?
Yes, please.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So the H.B.D.C. design guideline brochure states that on the scale of a new building in this district may not be disproportionately large or small in relation to historic buildings in its immediate surroundings. We are in a business district. We are not in a residential district. The buildings that you've received are buildings that are all visible from this property. That's why you received that. There was no deception there. It was, these are the properties that are all around this property. And we pointed out that there are some very large buildings. The theater is a large building. The laundromat building, which has a laundromat, a liquor store, and apartments attached behind it, is a very large building. These are all buildings that you see from this property. That was the point, that we're doing what the guideline requests. Show what is around your building for size and scale. Okay, so that was the reason why it was done. It wasn't, we had previously in prior meetings given you documentation of some sample residential developments within the H.B.D.C district that were also in a GB zone. So we had gone through that previously. This was to address what the guideline states immediately surrounding properties. Okay.
Also, I did want to say one other thing. You said we hadn't made any concessions. And the first time we did show this house, and I know in retrospect, this does kind of seem absurd. It was closer to 4,500 square feet, so 3,800. And I know both that 48, 45, and 38 are still large houses, but that is a dramatic shift in general size. I just wanted to point that out, but.
Thank you for your response. I just want to say one other thing. You're planning to put a residential neighborhood here. Now, don't you need to look at the residential homes? That's why we have said that we feel that these big, large manses don't fit here. I don't know. I may be wrong.
Janet, we understand where the board has come with all this. I'll tell you, if you look right outside of the entrance to this on Annabelle Lane where it dumps on the depot, you do have Oyster Pond Condominiums is a residential subdivision. I'm not sure when it was built. It was built.
I believe in maybe early 2000s or 90s.
And the footprint of those buildings are quite large. They're fourplex buildings. We can't build those on this property. It's not allowed. But I mean, we were originally trying to do something like that. It wasn't allowed, but those are fourplex 2/2s and they're good sized buildings. And several of them have a third level with parking under. So there are some big residential structures around there. We're not trying to skew anything. And, you know, we are trying to work with the board. We're telling you that we'll spend all this money trying to give separation between the two properties. We don't want someone who's playing a ball game to have a problem with a light from a house. And we don't want the person who's looking to buy the house have a problem with looking out onto a ball field when there's a ball game. So we're going to have to provide something. And we said, we'll put trees on the town side that we will pay for, irrigate, and maintain. We'll put a fence up between them. We'll put some trees up on our side staggered so that we make sure that we have good visual break between the two properties. So we are looking to work with the board. Okay, I hope you do understand that.
I appreciate that you're finally coming forward with some of the things that and we will certainly remember that you've told us that you will put in irrigation in for the trees and that you will put fencing in. And I think that is very, very important. But I still don't want this to go out of the sight of the fact that you're still building in a neighborhood. Yes, it's a business, a mixed business, but there's a lot of residential homes here. And another point I want to make is a 4,000 square foot house that's going to be vacant. We're dealing with global warming, which is something that I'm very concerned about for my grandchildren as well. You know, should we be building these big places where they're going to have to run heat during the winter when they're not there to keep their pipes from freezing? Anyway, so that's...
Yeah, hold on. I'll make a comment. Excuse me. Janet, we have to restrict our comments and questions to whether it is appropriate for the district or not, okay? So we have a very narrow lane we can walk here. Darcy?
Thank you, Dan.
I'm sorry, Dan. I was going to bring that up too. We can't get off track here. We've got to stick with the applicant.
I understand her concerns, but we have to stick to what we can control.
Correct.
Craig, I have a request of Craig, and this is nothing against the wonderful lady in your, I don't know how you're doing two people in one video, but it's working great, but I can't quite understand. Her mic is just out of my range of hearing. So
Okay.
can you tell me, Greg, yours is working, your speaker is working very well. Exactly
Yeah.
what the percentage of the lot coverage is being proposed right now? Is it 18% or 17.3 or?
No, the lot coverage on this property is just under 14%.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. That answered my question, and it keeps me from having to ask another. So I was going to ask you where this is residential, if you could stick to the 15%, that would really, mean a lot to me. So where you're 14%, that brings it into line with residential lots, although it's large. The other is we just have to remember, Craig, too, that this is only one of 5 houses going in there. So in itself, it may not be that obnoxious, but 5 of these houses on that hill is going to be quite something. So that's a concern of mine. I'm not saying it's inappropriate, but.
It's only 4, Dan.
4,
only
I'm
4.
sorry, yeah. Well, I was going to take out my
No, we
calculator
understand,
and do the 15%, but that's all right, Craig. All righty.
And
Yes,
just
the fifth one is the theater, right?
Front of the theater side, yes, that is.
Yeah.
And just to answer a question, it's off target, but Bob had asked this question earlier when he told us he was studying the plans and his wife was yelling at him. But on lot 3, Bob, that house is further away. So the design for that house right now is 29.5 feet off of the property line.
Yeah.
Behind the shed.
Yeah, and I think it's, as Victoria mentioned, it is sideways to the field. So the side of the house is to the field.
Yes.
Oh, yes. So that's 29 feet.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with Bob. If there's any way, I know you've already gone through it, so it's just redundant, just to get it up the hill as far as possible, that would be great. But, no, the house itself, I think it's more of a shore road design than it is in a historic district design. It's got an awful lot of nuances, the flares on the base of the walls and so forth and so on. It's not really colonial, but I can't say that it's inappropriate for the zone either. But anyways, yeah, I thought these houses were going to be, between 25 possibly and 3. But anyways, it is what it is. You have to make your money. So you're at 15%, Craig, right? 14?
Yes.
It's under 14.
Yeah,
It's
great.
It's less than 14.
Okay, all righty. Janet, was that Janet or?
That's
sorry.
Sam.
Sam, you had raised your hand. Your mic is off, Sam.
There I am. Okay. Well, I appreciate the exercise on building scale and massing. It does give us some information about the site. The fact that there's a lot of multifamily in here further reinforces my feeling that that's what would be the appropriate use of the land here rather than some luxury housing being introduced into an urban area. I noticed the floor plan, on the first floor plan, you have an area of 2,104 square feet. And
Yes.
the lot is 13,957. You do the math and
The lot is 15,480, Sam.
the lot is
Yeah, total area of the lot is 15.
buildable area, but I think you have.
I will say this might be, there was a slight mishap between the engineer.
Yeah. So it's a buildable.
Sarah, you're not.
And then,
Sarah, you're not up. Is that Sarah? I'm sorry.
That's Victoria.
Oh,
I stand
sorry.
corrected.
Okay.
The square footage of the lot.
Okay.
But also, you say that the whole building is 39,000 square foot. That there are two uses.
38,
3984 is what it says on the plan.
That's what Mark Zebret says on his plan, and we clarified that earlier, that Mark calculated outside to outside on both floors. And we ran it through the digitizer on Bluebeam here, and we have it for the outside to outside of livable area. It's 3850, 3830.
3834.
Okay.
3834, okay? And what it has there, Sam, as you look at it, it says the buildable upland is 13,957, but the total lot is 15,480.
Okay.
Based upon the buildable upland square footage, it is 15%, but with the total area.
Total land is 13.5%.
Did you count any basement space for that?
No, it's the footprint, Sam.
It'd be the footprint, Sam.
No, I know I'm talking about the overall area, second floor, first floor, and the basement with those residential openings. Even though you aren't planning to finish it off in the start, I think it contributes to the mass of the building that you have the patio doors there. And I realize the other part is the garage, so that's okay. But anyway, that's my feeling, is that even though it's not part of any zoning calculation necessarily, it certainly contributes to the mass. So, and I think the position on the lot could be simplified if some of these rooms were made, if the whole building was made more realistic. To have a study, which is going to be deemed a bedroom, I'm sure you know that, at 23 feet, and the bedrooms upstairs all exceeding 20 feet in.
Sarah?
Dan, the board doesn't have purview over interior spaces. I know it's affecting the massing, Sam, but the,
excuse me.
I just want to say you have to remember that you don't have purview over the uses of the interior spaces.
I recognize that, but my comment about the dimension affects the overall width of the building, and the overall width of the building affects the height and the overall massing of the whole building. So I'm just pointing out the cause of one of our objections about the buildings being too big is due to the exorbitant room size. So that's my point.
Thank you, Sam. Yes, Janet?
Were you the person that had your hand up? I noticed.
Do we have sewer on Depot Road? Are these buildings going to be sewered? Oh, they all
Yes.
have their own septic system.
It is designed with sewer.
So we have sewer up on Depot Road.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, so we've been through everybody, including Sam. Are you through yet, or would you like to make another comment? Okay, I don't see any hands up. Would anybody like to make any further comments? I have a question for the applicant. Bob.
Yeah, excuse me, just one further comment. If the home was moved more toward the pool, and I don't know what is that a road coming in? There's some trees. Looks like a lane there. I don't know what that is. Where it shows the setback to this, maybe that's the property line. Maybe that's the property line for lot 5.
The
front of the house.
The grade line?
No, it's over right there in the corner of the house, right? What's that? Is that the property line for 5?
That is the property line and then a grade line outside of it. So if you look to the left of the pool, you see CB to be set.
Yes.
That's the concrete bound. That's the concrete bound for the property line. If you follow that line down right there, there's another concrete bound there. So that is the property line from one bound to the other. And the
Okay.
other line is just a grade line, a 44-foot elevation grade line.
Okay. Now, could you take space from property 5, be able to move the house, which would give more space between the field and the house, to get more like another 15 feet? Because lot 3 you mentioned had what, 30 feet almost?
Lot feet has 29.5 feet.
29.
Point.
It would be
Yeah.
better to get it back, get it more up the hill. Because as you mentioned before, behind the scoreboard doesn't look bad, but when you get down to the batting cage and you know where it's where the building is, it's really tight at 15 feet.
But it's 18.5 there, Bob.
Yeah, 18 and a half. It still looks pretty tight. So
yeah,
that's really
I think we
get this thing up the hill and back. I don't know if you could steal from 5, but just I guess it's consistent with my previous comment.
Yeah, I don't think he can steal from 5 because he'd have to give up some of the road, and then he wouldn't meet the dimensions on the width of the road with the clearance he needs on that.
Yeah.
So when I look at the road, and he only has the dimension is 25.68 feet on the radius there, we'd have to take some of that to give to lot 5 to take some of the end that you're talking about up in the corner. I know what you're saying, but I think that was David's problem with that.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a challenge to get 4 homes in there. It's a real challenge, and you got to keep. I really want to see some more open space behind the batting cage and the scoreboard. I think it's just very close. So that again, those are consistent with my previous comments. Thanks.
Thank you, Robert. Does anybody else have any comments or questions?
Do you want to make a motion, Dan?
You can try making one, Doug.
I will try to make a motion.
I think it's going to have to be conditioned.
Okay, well, I'm going to make a motion, Dan, and we'll go from there.
Hold on.
Dan didn't.
Let Bob make the last comment. Bob, go ahead.
I thought Dan wanted to make a comment.
No, I'm all
I
set.
thought he did.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Bob.
Doug Grant will make a motion for continuing hearing new construction 21-101 Chatham Productions LLC, care of Victoria Clark, application to construct a new dwelling located at Lot 4, Annabelle Lane, as presented with the addition that landscaping, trees will be planted along with a fence, and the trees will be irrigated by the developer.
Darcy Sequin will second the motion.
Okay, I have a suggestion. I think we can just condition it that the applicant come back with a landscaping plan and corrected numbers for the square footage. I mean, so far we do have something that was sent to us, but we haven't got anything officially in the. Sarah, is that changed in the square footage in the files?
I do have it. I did print out Victoria's email and add it to the file.
Okay, but it's not in the file for this.
It's not reflected on the plans as of yet.
No, so I think that they should come back with those final documents for the square footage, and also I want to see the percentages on there as well. The new the new percentages represented on the plans.
As far as the building coverage is concerned, or the square footage of the dwelling?
Yeah, the building coverage, just the building coverage. Yeah, Darcy? Darcy?
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, Dan, but I don't see why we can't approve this today and condition it if you wanted to.
That's what we're doing.
Well, you didn't say that. You wanted him to come back for the landscaping. I think we
Yeah,
can.
condition such that he comes back with the landscaping and the new, updated numbers.
Okay, okay, I
That's
misunderstood.
what we usually do. Because we haven't gone through the lighting, we might as well have him come back to the hardscaping, the lighting, and the landscaping.
Well, all of that has been provided in the packet that they gave you for this time. If you'd like, we could have them go through some of those details as to the stone walls, the lighting fixtures that are proposed, because all of those are included in the packet that was provided to you.
Okay, I was trying to make the meeting shorter, but if you folks want to go through that, I'm more than happy to stay.
That's entirely up
Marcy?
to the board. I do just want to say one more thing that, just so we all know, voting today will be the regular members unless Doug has to leave in 15 minutes. Dan Silver, Sam Stribert, Darcy Sequin, Bob Burns, and Doug Grattan, provided he is here. If Doug does have to leave prior to the vote, the voting member would be Steve DeBoer.
I've made arrangements to remain at the meeting, Sarah, so I
Okay.
will be here.
So it'll be all the regular members voting.
Okay, all right. So, do we want to go on to the others, folks, the lighting? The lighting and the landscaping materials?
Do you want us to walk through that?
Sarah, would this also include the pool?
No,
It does
I
not.
don't believe so. The pool would have to come back under a separate application.
Okay. Really? Okay.
You're not getting rid of us, Dan.
Pool is a sales device.
All righty, so let's start with the lighting. That's easy. I see onion lights all around.
So the lighting, oh, she had that. Yes, so this is the proposal to have onion lights at the exterior lighting, and I think the, Mark Zebrat has on his drawings the locations that those are proposed currently. If you look at the 4 elevations, you'll see those.
I believe it is the front door, the back garage door, the side door, as well as the, 2 door, yes, those doors as well, yes.
All righty, now I'm gonna throw a wrench in the works. Do we have any spot lighting, some, lighting for the pool, lighting for the stairs, lighting for the walkways?
No, that would all have to come back to you under a full landscaping plan. So after the home is, when a home is approved, then the landscape architect will design the lighting that he plans to put on walkways and
Okay,
whatnot.
so right now we're just
Come back.
talking about the lights directly around the doors required by code, right?
Correct,
Yes.
yes.
Very good. Does anybody in the commission have any comments? I think that the onion lights are quite straightforward. Anybody? No? All right. Now, how about the hardscaping materials? Want to go, we got all kinds of things here.
So we
Where
have,
would you like to go, Craig?
what's that?
Oh, actually, why don't we back up? What are you proposing for siding?
So for siding, Dan, if you go in, you have the, it's a cedar shingle. We're proposing a Maybach with a bleach with a dark gray stain to it. And the color is shown on the, yeah, you see it right there. Okay.
Okay, and usually what we request is that the courses be be as close to 5 inches as possible
Mm-hmm.
on average.
Okay.
All right. And they meet the top and bottom of the doors or openings, rather.
Okay.
I know, and let's see, you had red cedar shingles. What were those, Craig? Oh, that's roofing.
Those are on the roof.
Okay, very good. All right, because I see 2. Oh, already, very good. Yeah.
I have a quick question. Is that Mayabec, is that a composite? Is that a composite shingle? No, it's a regular wood shingle?
No, that's
Yes,
a brand name.
Yes.
Oh,
Manufacturer.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. They're wood. It's a natural cedar. it's a very good grade of sidewall shingles.
Thank you, Dan.
Shingles. Craig, we do have a list of doors. I don't know if everybody wants to go through those.
So the doors, the front entry door is proposed to be a hardwood mahogany door with side lights in the transom. This
Yeah,
is just an example. This is not the design that Mark has on the plan, but just to show you an example of the mahogany door, okay?
Okay.
And then you have the secondary front door, which is over to the right of the main entrance, and that is a Therma-Tru fiberglass door. It looks like wood, but it's fiberglass.
Right. Yep.
And
Okay.
then you have the garage side entrance door, which is actually on the back of the property. That, again, it looks like a wood door, but it's a true fiberglass insulated door.
All right.
Okay.
Very good. And I see you have aluminum gutters all around.
Yes, aluminum gutters and downspouts, and we're anticipating that when the design gets going on the civil, we'll incorporate the taking of that water to on-site underground structures that will dispense that water, so nothing runs
okay.
off to the properties. Okay. And then these are your overhead doors. These will be clad with AZEK so that they're maintenance free.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to switch over to the windows now so that they're Marvin, right?
Yes.
And does anybody want to comment on the glazing? You know, the size of the glazing? They look to be what? 1, 2, 3, 2, 4, 6, 12 over 1? Oh, 8 over 1.
Yeah, I don't think that, I don't know if that's the representative. If you have to look at the elevations to get the different, there's
Here
your
and
true.
there, yeah.
Yeah, that is just an example of a Marvin window, but these
Okay.
are the true, light divisions.
Okay. Does anybody have any question about that? About the glazing? No? All right, now I'm going to go on to the trim, Craig. So that's going to be represented on, represented on Mark's drawing.
Yes.
Right? The windows are going to have probably 1 by 5 trim.
Yeah, what's it say?
And historic sills.
Yes, so you have, we propose to use 5 quarter stock, Dan, on that.
Yeah, so 5 quarter. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's 5 quarter by, I'm missing that drawing. The elevations.
Yeah,
And I couldn't, it was too small for me to read.
Yeah, I was looking through he had quite a bit of detail on the gutter and the flares and whatnot. And
yeah, so, it's 5 quarter by 4 at the window casings and the door casings.
Okay.
5 quarter by 6 corner boards at the dormers.
Yeah.
And then he gives
you've
you
also
some other
got
sides.
Right, you've also got the columns specified.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And those 2 are also, they're fiberglass, structural fiberglass columns.
Sure.
So they won't, won't decay with the weather.
Yep. Okay. All right. So that pretty much takes care of the wood, unless someone has another comment, question. All right. Let's go on to the some of the hardscaping. We got a step.
Yes. So the steps will be solid granite steps. Color proposed is Concord gray, which is one of the standards you see.
Yep. And you have what? 2 walls. 2 walls. You have the garage wall and a small retaining wall.
Yeah. So you have the freestanding walls, the retaining wall on site. The solid stone walls will be New England round wall stone, and then the veneer over the foundation where it's exposed will be the thin stone veneer, similar stone, matching in color and shape, but it's a 1 inch thick that you apply.
Yeah. Absolutely. Any questions, anybody? No? All right, and we're taking the swimming pool separately, right?
Yes.
A different application, Sarah?
Correct.
Okay, and we'll also be taking the lights, landscaping lights, along with the landscaping plans, right?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
And also the, who has jurisdiction over the driveway material, Sarah, and the turnaround? Planning board or us, or both?
In this case, it would be the H.B.D.C. because they do not need approval. They don't need site plan approval from the planning board.
Okay, alrighty. Anybody have any comments about the driveways and turnarounds? No?
I would, yes, I'd like to comment. I think some product that would be chosen would be a light color that doesn't absorb the heat. Again, I'm thinking about global warming.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah,
so
they make
we'll-
several things. They got a nice bluestone that they impregnate into the tar too. So I don't know. I guess we can talk to them about that later, unless someone wants to define that tonight.
Get over to Nantucket, they have a lot of shell driveways.
They're very difficult to plow. So
Yeah, I know.
they're beautiful, but they're difficult to plow. All right. Does anybody want to add any other materials? I certainly am not sure that I hit everything, but that's usually what we get. So that leads us back to Darcy, where I said, you know, we have conditioned this such that he comes back with a separate landscaping plan. All right. Is that all right, Darcy?
Yes, yeah. So Doug can amend his motion.
All right, so I will amend my motion for application 21-010, Chatham Productions LLC, care of Victoria Clark, application to construct a new dwelling located at Lot 4, Annabelle Lane, as presented with the conditions that the builder install a tree line and irrigate that tree line with a fence behind it, and also supply the H.B.D.C. with a landscape plan at a later date for us to review.
All right. And also the new updated numbers.
And also supply us with the updated numbers, square footage numbers for the dwelling to be built.
Very good. Thank you, Doug.
I'll re-second that motion.
Okay. Darcy had re-seconded the motion. Okay. Any last comments, anybody? I know you people don't like that, but I'm going to give you one last opportunity. No? All right. Ready to vote? Okay. Darcy,
Darcy Seaton votes in favor.
Sam Stryber,
Sam Stryber approves.
okay, Bob Burns.
What are we voting on? A continuation?
Oh,
No, we're voting on to approve the plans as they are for the building and that the applicant come back with the landscaping plans.
I vote no.
You want to abstain?
He said no.
I said no.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said you didn't know.
No,
Okay.
no.
Okay. Okay. Doug Grattan.
Doug Grattan votes to approve.
Okay. And let's see, Steve DuBois.
I guess if I were voting, I would.
What would you do, Steve? I'm sorry, I forgot to. Yeah.
No,
what would you do?
I understand. If I were voting, I would vote to approve.
All right, Janet Whittemore.
I have no vote, yeah.
Right. What would you do? What would you do if you did have a vote, Janet?
Well, if I had a vote, you know, I'm definitely against the size of these buildings, and I hold to that.
All right. Well, I am going to abstain. So this is Dan Silver. All right. I too think that they could be smaller, but he's worked very well, Greg. That has no reflection on you. I just concerned about the overall size of the project. So did a good job. Everybody did a good job to get to this point. So we'll see in the future. We'll see over the pool and the landscaping, and Hope you get those numbers together, Craig.
So the
Yeah,
vote
we
of,
appreciate it.
vote of the commission is 3 in favor, 1 in opposition, 1 abstaining. Therefore, the application passes with conditions.
Thank you. And
Thank
we
you.
will work with you on the other ones also, and we will start the process on the theater. Okay?
Thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all, members. You did a great job. Thank you for all showing up in that weather yesterday. It was very pleasant to see you all. It was joyful that way, but typical Chatham, winter. All right, Sarah, I guess I'll send you off a note.
Yes,
How about,
please.
does anybody want to make a last motion? Doug, you're going to hang in there for a motion to,
I will hang for the last motion. Should I make that now?
Yes, we have no other applications. There were no administrative approvals, so one last
you're good to
motion.
go, Doug.
Doug Grant will make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 5:36 PM.
And Darcy Sequin will second that motion.
Okay, motion is made and seconded. Darcy,
Darcy approves.
Sam,
And approves.
Bob Burns,
Bob Burns approves.
Doug Grattan,
Doug Grant approves.
Steve DeVoy,
Steve DeBoer approves.
Janet Whittemore.
And Whittemore approves.
Excellent, Janet. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time too and your service. All right, folks, that's it.
We're adjourned.
Thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome.